From the Second Street Dreams audio network, this is Staccato, quick notes dotting the classical music landscape. I'm Judelyn Gibson. You most likely have never heard of the National Negro Opera Company, or the house that served as its headquarters in Pittsburgh for 20 years.
Mary Caldwell Dawson started the Dawson School of Music. After she started the Dawson School of Music, she also started the National Negro Opera Company at the house. She was on the third floor.
Janae Solomon hadn't heard of it either until she and a friend bought the old rundown building in 2000.
So the first thing we did is work with our historian and worked with other people to collect all of the data, which now is in the Library of Congress and at the Heinz History Center. So everyone has access to it so they can understand the history that was done and the access that was created to people who never had access before.
Now she's turned it into a charitable organization and is on a fundraising mission to refurbish the dilapidated home that served the Black community of Pittsburgh in the 1900s all the way to 1961.
She started the National Negro Opera Company, and in addition, Woogie Harris rented the house to the Black Steelers and Pirates that came to Pittsburgh and didn't have a place to stay. So people like Roberto Clemente lived there, Steelers lived there, and when Joe Louis came to Pittsburgh, he stayed there. Lena Horne stayed there. Count Basie stayed there. So it basically was a rental space to sports people, jazz musicians, and the National Negro Opera Company.
Mary Caldwell Dawson took the National Negro Opera Company on tour. They performed concert versions of the opera Wanga at the Met and at Carnegie Hall in 1956. When Dawson died in 1962, the opera company died with her. But while the opera company did not continue, it did leave a legacy for African-American opera singers who came after, especially those from Pittsburgh, like Chantal Brazil, a soprano. Now, the house where the National Negro Opera Company was born has been named one of the 11 most endangered places in America by the National Trust for Historic Preservation.
When it's restored, the goal is to have the programming in the community accessible to the people who don't have it right at their fingertips, so that if they want to be on a main stage in this arena, they now have immediate access to it.
Do you feel hopeful at all about it?
I feel really hopeful. I feel a lot better than 20 years ago.
Janae Solomon estimates they'll need $5 million to get the house in shape. That's Staccato. I'm Judelyn Gibson on the Second Street Dreams audio network on secondstreetdreams.com.